the 28th Sunday of Ordinary Time. In the first reading, which I would hope you might ponder, there is an extreme. The writer of this poem from the Book of Wisdom said, I preferred prudence and wisdom to power and wealth. I give it all away, my desire, my possession of everything. And the gospel is interesting. A man comes up and says, what must I do to inherit eternal life? He calls him good teacher. You know everything. And Jesus says, well, there's only one really good, and that's God alone. But he says, you know what you should do, you've already done. You've kept all the commandments. You have the tickets. You have the validation. You have the graduation certificate. And you've done them. You haven't killed, committed adultery. You've got the tickets. You've done it. But one thing you lack. You think that by keeping the commandments, by keeping the law, that becomes your riches. That becomes your value. That becomes your identity. You are a law keeper. And you ask me, as part of your business with God, what else must you do? So you have all the tickets, more than anybody else. And then Jesus said, well, and he says to Peter and the apostles, one thing you lack, you got to leave mother, father, wife, children, house, land. You have to leave everything that was precious to you. And the man's face fell, and the apostles are saying, how can this be? You can't do that. He said, yes, everything is possible with God. What can God do is the question. He says, what must I do? What Jesus is saying is, leave the absolute obsessions with things. Having an obsession is having a very narrow view. It excludes having family and house and land and everything. How available is that to the broader world, to relationships with others? Now you would say, well, you are a Jesuit, you left wife and family and land and house to follow Jesus. You really have made it. I wouldn't say so. I didn't save myself. I didn't create myself. Leaving everything, kind of. In our class that we teach here at the university, the students say, I want to give God my whole heart and forever and total. You can't do that. We want to negotiate so we have everything. No, you can't negotiate. In the first reading, the writer prayed for prudence. Prudence is a reverence for what is human and what is divine. No, I don't have it made because I left everything, because I didn't leave my selfishness behind. I took that with me into the Jesuits. I took that with me climbing up the altar steps to get ordained. And I take it with me. I live with it. But I have the prudence to know that the selfishness, while it's there, must not narrow my vision of myself and life. If I can leave everything to be open to everything, that might be the spirit of poverty that Jesus is inviting this man, the apostles, Peter, and you and me, to have a reverence for what things are, but what they can't be. They can't be my identity. My identity is received, not achieved. It's a hope and a struggle to live rather than a prize, a trophy. Eternal life is a trophy given to those who have all the tickets. Every time we receive the Eucharist, we receive our worthiness, we receive our dignity, and we receive our participation in eternal life.